Well, it is a little bit after 7 o'clock, so we'll go ahead and get started. We'll call the Johnston City Council meeting number 26-08 to order. Cindy, roll call, please.
Councilmember Cope.
Here.
Evans.
Here.
Martin.
Here.
Ready.
Here.
Burkhart.
Here.
I want to welcome everyone that is in the audience this evening. If you're here for an item that is on the agenda, we would ask you to wait for that item to come up and to address the council at that time. If you're here for an item that is not on the agenda, there will be an opportunity under public communications to address the council. Next item on the agenda is the Pledge of Allegiance, and we have County Supervisor Altringer with us this evening. So you want to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Okay, next item on the agenda is the agenda approval, and I typically turn to Mike, our city administrator, and say, Mike, is there any changes to the agenda? And he's not in his chair. So we'll just pause for a second. Here he comes. Mike, is there any changes to the agenda? Council, any changes to the agenda? Being none, do we have a motion to approve the agenda?
I move.
Second.
We have a motion and a second discussion. Cindy, vote please.
Councilmember Evans.
Yes.
Martin.
Yes.
Ready.
Yes.
Burkhart.
Yes.
Motion passed. Moving on to public communications. We have several public communications this evening, and I'm going to take them slightly out of order. We are going to do the proclamation for National Library Week in Johnston first, because we have many guests in the audience, as I understand it, for that proclamation. So, Molly, you want to come up and...
To say anything, I just want to serve. Other than to thank council and thank you for the support you give the library, and to thank our community members who definitely love the library, and so just a really heartfelt thank you.
Thank you, Holly. So I do have the proclamation here, and I will read it, and then I'll ask all of our guests to come forward to receive the proclamation and have a picture taken. And hopefully we have somebody on deck to take a picture. Okay, very good. Okay, so the proclamation for National Library Week 2026. Whereas libraries spark creativity, fuel imagination, and inspire lifelong learning, offering a space where individuals of all ages can explore new ideas and be drawn to new possibilities. And whereas libraries serve as vibrant community hubs, connecting people with knowledge, technology, and resources, while fostering civic engagement and critical thinking. And whereas libraries provide free and equitable access to books, digital tools, and innovative programming, ensuring that all individuals, regardless of background, have the support they need to learn, connect, and thrive. And whereas libraries partner with schools, businesses, and organizations to maximize resources, increase efficiency, and expand access to essential services and strengthen the entire community. And whereas libraries empower job seekers, entrepreneurs, and learners by providing training, resources, and opportunities that support career growth, creativity, and economic success. And whereas libraries nurture young minds through story times, STEAM programs, and literacy initiatives, fostering curiosity and a love of learning that lasts a lifetime. And whereas libraries uphold the right to read, think, and explore without censorship, standing as champions of intellectual freedom and expression. And whereas dedicated librarians and library workers create welcoming spaces that inspire discovery, collaboration, and creativity for all. And whereas the Johnston Public Library is committed to promoting discovery, inspiring creativity, and engaging the community through exceptional resources, programs, and services. And whereas libraries, librarians, and library workers across the country are joining together to celebrate National Library Week under the theme, Find Your Joy. Now therefore be it resolved that I, Mayor Paula Dierenfeld, proclaim April 19th through the 25th, 2026 as National Library Week. During this week, I encourage all residents to visit their library, and every week, but this week in particular, explore its resources and celebrate all the ways that libraries draw us together as a community. And I have signed the proclamation and will present it to you today. So why don't you come forward, all of the supporters of the library and members of the city council. You have to back everybody in the front of the room.
Yeah, should we just, well. Yep, we're just. Okay.
So Polly, first of all, I just want to thank our library board. I'm sure these are who are here. Can you raise your hand? Great, great, great. Thank you so much. It's a labor of love. You do an amazing job. And of course, all of our library staff, raise your hand. Okay, that's several of them here. You know, you're there every day serving our community, and I know that the residents in our community absolutely love our library. That's because of all of the great service we provide. They enjoy it so much. And so the rest of us are just members of the community that love this, and our library foundation. Great. Yeah, we have an incredible library in the community, and I know that our residents just think the world of it. And so thank you for everything that you do. Oh, we're gonna lose our audience. I've seen you.
George, thanks for coming. Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Not sure where it's in the back.
Yeah.
Dave's not, Dave has a, go take your picture in the next one.
Yeah. That's the check. Thanks for you guys.
Maybe we should have had the presentation of the check first. I mean, that's a big deal. Oh, well.
That's a little deflating.
What's that?
Party, that's a little deflating.
You should have brought a similarly sized crowd with you. That's right. That's right. Well, let's go to that item on the agenda because it's pretty amazing as well. So the next item on the agenda is the Polk County presentation of a check for Kites on the Green.
All right. Jill Altringer, Polk County Supervisor, representing District 2. All of you have heard me before. I have the most exciting district, and you guys continue to show us all that excellence. I thought I was at a party on a Monday morning or Monday evening. Seriously, the representation that you guys had here for just a library proclamation, I don't mean just up, but it was a proclamation, is a great testament to all the great work you guys are doing. If I could take like 2 minutes and just update you since the last time I was here to give you a couple of the exciting things we're doing, which tomorrow we vote on our budget.
And so, this is the second year in a row that we're reducing our levy rate by 10 cents. So we came in last year, we did 10 cents, this year 10 cents. Not only have we not cut any services, we've been able to expand services, but we've been able to do the levy reduction through finding efficiencies and really revamping a lot of contracts that we hadn't taken a hard look at for the last 20 or 25 years. So I'm very proud of that. Thankfully, I had a lovely assistant, my daughter, who had traveled with me today. She's out doing some college homework, and she was able to go to the car and remind me that I had QR codes with me because I handed them out like hotcakes to my library friends. One thing I ran on and fought for is a strategic plan in the county. We haven't done a strategic plan for 30 years. This is something that we're in the process of doing. I know we've had focus groups, including in this area. I think we have some more that we're planning, but part of that process is our survey. So I have 4 cards left. I'm going to leave them towards the back. Please take them with you. Do the survey, send it, hand them out to your friends after you're done with it. I want to make sure that we have statistically significant data so we can really make some informed decisions. And so I want to get to at least 1,000 surveys. I should be able to do that in my own district. I haven't been able to yet, so please share my codes. All right. Now, why you're actually here pretending to listen to me. I have an exciting check. So you guys have great events here. This one is Kites on the Green. I've heard great things. Last year I had a conflict. This year I have my son's college graduation. I still can't make it. Please send me pictures. I will try my hardest to get there next year. Things, that's the advantage of being a mom representing you, right? We have other things. But I do have the check because I know that this is a great event in the community, wanted to be a supporter, proud to be a supporter, was wondering if we could also do a picture. You guys have actually been mailed the check that cashes, so this is just the token one. All right, let's do it.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Supervisor, our alternator.
And thank you for supporting the water one.
Oh, absolutely.
It's really important, and I'm really appreciative.
Take an extra comment, the work that we're doing. Extra rival. I shouldn't say like that, because we're great partners with them. We're working 13 counties upstream with monitoring, working departments to establish this. Putting it dust. I'm very proud.
Yeah, getting other counties involved is really important too. People need to understand that this isn't just Polk County is concerned about it, but it's people that have a broader reach of the state as well.
And Mike May has been a great supporter with us. When we can leverage our money and put in these great projects, we're spending 10% of the project from the other counties, taking care of the rest because they recognize what good work we're doing, and they couldn't do those partnerships without us. Great. Thank you.
Good to see you.
Absolutely, thank you.
You got it. All right, there's 4 left.
Yeah, just, yeah. So.
Okay, it looks like we have another check moving quickly towards the dais. Is this for National Arbor Day?
Yes, and I won't make you read the proclamation, but if you'll come up for a picture, that'll do. We have Mid-American here. We have Kyle with Mid-American to present us with our $5,000 check.
So we do have in our packet this evening a proclamation for National Arbor Day, which is Friday, April 24th. And I'll give this to you and you can take it back and post it. And we're going to be planting trees on Wednesday, right?
Wednesday from 1 to 3 at Sierra Park.
Got it.
Right on. There you go.
You be trusted.
Actually thinking.
Yeah. You want to explain what this is?
Yeah, so it's Mid-American's Trees Please program. Every year, Johnston has submitted a application for our grant program. They've received an award. This year, we've grants to 58 communities, ranging from $500 to $5,000. And you guys are on the high end of it because it's such a good plan. So that's great. And you guys are one of 8 communities in Iowa to receive a $5,000 grant. So
Wow.
I'm on it.
Wow,
So I
absolutely.
get the
And
privilege
how many years in a row have we?
since its beginning. So it's like 25 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
So-
And Carrie Allen did a great job of that whole plan, the tree plan and all of our staff to make sure we got all those planted in parks, public right away.
Great to see.
And the reason why Mid-American supports the planting of trees is.
Conserve energy, plant some shade, so create some cooler spaces.
Very good. Well, thank you so much.
Appreciate it. Yes.
Partnership.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Very much.
And yes, good to
You want this?
Thank you. I'm gonna hand it over to the finance director.
Hey, sorry.
Yep.
Okay, and we have one additional public communication this evening, and that is, my glasses are over there somewhere. And that is a proclamation recognizing May as Building Safety Month.
I
Adam,
apologize. I didn't bring a bunch of people or a check.
well, I understand.
But I do want to say thank you. The support that council, staff and everybody provides for the building department and fire prevention is immense. I'm forever grateful to all the work that you guys do to make sure that we have what we need. So thank you and look forward to more.
And with that, can I just make a comment and rather than read the proclamation? Okay, so I just want to say, this is, building safety is important. And, I've been in some other countries where they don't have the same level of building codes that we have in the United States and in Iowa in particular. And it's just a little bit scary to stay in hotels or go into buildings in some of these other countries because, if a disaster were to strike, the chances of you getting out of those buildings is probably fairly low. So, having building codes, having staff that inspect and enforce those building codes and making sure that all of the buildings that we build are safe for occupancy, that's a big flipping deal. So thank you, Adam, for everything that you do. Thank you for everything that the people who work with you do. We're all safer because of it. So really appreciate it. Thank you. You bet.
Thank you.
Thanks.
We have a picture?
Go ahead. Sorry.
Thank you. You bet.
Thank you for everything you're doing. You're working hard.
Okay, that pretty much dispenses with all the fun stuff. And we'll get into the meat of the agenda. We have, we'll move on, we're still under public communications. Is there anyone in the audience that would like to address the council on an item that is not on the agenda? Anyone online? Seeing none, we'll move on to public hearings. We have 2 public hearings this evening. The first is to conduct a public hearing on the matter of adoption of plans, specifications, form of contract, and estimate of cost for the 2026 sidewalk improvements Phase 3, and consider resolution number 26-67, ratifying, confirming, and approving change in deadline for submission of bids and posting of revised notice to bidders. Resolution number 26-68, adopting plan specifications, form of contract, and estimate of costs. Will consider the construction bids. Resolution number 26-69, making award of construction contract. And resolution number 26-70, approving construction contract and bond. And we'll open this public hearing at 7:24. Matt?
Good evening, Mayor and members of the council. On April 14th, the city received bids for the 2026 sidewalk improvement Phase 3 project that is really focused in the North Glen as well as the Johnston Commons neighborhoods and a few surrounding areas. There were two bidders on the project. The engineer's opinion of probable cost was $702,960. The lowest responsible bid received was $489,904.70, approximately 30% underneath the engineer's estimate. This will result in a 4x4 panel that's 4 inches thick, so a common sidewalk panel will be approximately $135 to $140 for that side, for each sidewalk panel, which is in comparison to our Green Meadows West sidewalk program, that was about $170. So we got some good bids coming in from the contractors. The certified bid tab shows that MPS Engineering is the low bidder, and staff and the engineer would recommend approval of the project. Be happy to answer any questions.
Council, have any questions for Matt?
I don't have a question, but I just, the neighborhood that I live in is the neighborhood that most recently went through this project. And I just think that this investment that we're making in our sidewalks is so important. It shows our commitment not only to our infrastructure, but also frankly, the well-being of our citizens and the fact that they have safe and easy places to walk. And it's just a really, I think, an important improvement. I'm really glad that we've been talking about a sidewalk program for a long time. We're really doing a great job of implementing it, and I'm excited to see that the phasing continues. So.
Yeah, when you think about the city and infrastructure, sometimes you think water mains, sewers, or storm sewers. You know, you don't really think of the sidewalk, but it does really create neighborhood and community by being able to walk and see and talk to your neighbors. So it is a good program, and I'm glad council supports that.
Any other questions or comments, council? This is a public hearing on this item. Is there anyone in the audience that would like to address the council? Seeing none, we'll close the public hearing at 7:26. Do we have a motion to approve resolution number 26-67?
So moved.
Second?
We have a motion and a second discussion. Cindy, vote please.
Councilmember Martin,
Yes.
Ready,
Yes.
Burkhart,
Yes.
Coe,
Yes.
Evans.
Yes.
Motion passed. Do we have a motion to approve resolution number 26-68?
Move approval.
Second?
We have a motion and a second discussion. Cindy, vote please.
Councilmember Ready,
Yes.
Burkhart,
Yes.
Coe,
Yes.
Evans.
Yes.
Martin.
Yes.
Motion passed. Do we have a motion to approve resolution number 26-69?
Move. Second.
We have a motion and a second discussion. Cindy, vote please.
Councilmember Burkhart,
Yes.
Coe,
Yes.
Evans.
Yes.
Martin,
Yes.
Ready.
Yeah.
Motion passed. And do we have a motion to approve resolution number 26-70?
So moved.
Second?
We have a motion and a second discussion. Cindy, vote please.
Councilmember Coe,
Yes.
Evans.
Yes.
Martin,
Yes.
Ready,
Yes.
Burkhart.
Yes.
Motion passed. Moving on to item 4B, conduct a public hearing for the 2026-2027 budget and consider resolution number 26-72, adopting the budget for fiscal year 2026-2027 and authorizing tax levies on all taxable properties within the city of Johnston. Motion to grant the police department authority to increase its authorized staffing of sworn personnel to 40 officers effective with the 2026-27 budget. Resolution number 26-73, confirming and establishing public purpose for economic development, arts, and culture. And resolution number 26-74, approving transfers for 2026-27 fiscal year. And we'll open this public hearing at 7:28. Sarah.
Mayor and Council, tonight we have our final presentation on the fiscal 27 proposed budget. Many of the slides included in the presentation tonight, we did cover at the April 6th public hearing, so I will run through them pretty quickly. Here's our overall look at the agenda. First, we'll review our vision and mission statement that you adopted in January 2024. Johnston 2039 is a safe and attractive community with a small town feel. Johnston 2039 has great neighborhoods, outstanding quality of life amenities for all to enjoy, thriving community destination, and strong local economy. In Johnston 2039, our residents and businesses take pride in Johnston. Johnston 2039 thrive, a special place, thrive every day. Johnston city government mission is to provide exceptional city service and to plan and invest for our community's future in financially responsible and sound manner through a high-performing city team that provides personalized customer services and engages our community. How do we achieve that vision and mission? It begins annually through our budget process. Consideration and approval of the operating budget is the single most important policy that the council makes annually. It sets the vision of the council and reflects the needs of the community. The budget provides the 12-month roadmap for staff to follow and the roadmap of spending priorities for staff to follow. Shortly into the new budget year, city staff began working on the upcoming budget. Staff have been working hard on the fiscal 27 budget since October 2025. We met with council and had 2 public meetings in January 2026 to discuss department level budgets. And at our last meeting on April 6th, we had a public hearing on the property taxation, which set the max levy for the budget and was the first public hearing on this upcoming budget. Tonight is the second and final public hearing where a levy will be adopted. We've talked many times about everything costing more. Here are a couple examples that we've touched on, showing the inflationary cost of a patrol car as well as a tower ladder truck. Also in our graph here, we have just how our calls of service have also increased over the last few years. Major expenses, in our budget, the main increase in expenses is our salaries and wages for existing staff. The ASME group, which includes our public works and parks, maintenance workers and mechanics, will receive 3% across the board increase, and those eligible for an annual anniversary increase will receive an additional 4%. The Teamsters group, which is our police officers and CSO, had a wage reopener this spring. We've not yet approved our tentative agreement. However, preliminarily, we've budgeted a 4% across the board increase and an average anniversary increase of 4% for those eligible. And then our IAFF group, which is our firefighter, EMTs, paramedics, and lieutenants, they will receive a 4% across the board and a 4% anniversary increase for those eligible. Those wages for those 3 groups are set by contract. And then for our non-bargaining employees, we've budgeted 2.7% for cost of living increase, and that is based on the September 2025 Midwest CPI, and a merit increase of 3%. So legislative changes have created funding challenges in the budget. The commercial and industrial property tax backfill will fully phase out in fiscal 27. In comparison, in fiscal 22, we received approximately $504,000, which is equivalent to 24 cents on the levy rate, and that will be at 0 for fiscal 27. And then the multi-residential rollback resulted in a loss of $12.1 million in taxable value, or $128,000 in property tax revenue, which is equivalent to 7.6 cents on the levy. The expansion of credits and exemptions have also impacted the levy rate by approximately 3.8 cents. And then our impacts from House File 718 passed in 2023 has annually reduced our levying ability. In fiscal 24, our maximum adjusted general fund levy was $8.38. However, for fiscal 27, our maximum adjusted general fund levy is at $7.89, a decrease of 48 cents. And the city's financial advisors, PFM, projects fiscal 28's adjusted general fund levy to be reduced further. So what is making up our residents' property tax bill? Not all taxes paid by residents are city taxes. 40.14% are the school district, 30.78% are the city, 18.05% are the county, and the remaining 11.3% are the other taxing entities in the metro. Historically, our levy rate has remained consistent over the last 10 years and averaged $11.16. The proposed fiscal 27 levy is flat from the previous 2 years. In the metro, the average levy is $12.11. Johnston falls right below that and is the seventh highest at $11.43. Per month, a resident living in a $400,000 house would pay $42.45 for city services. 42.78% of those of that cost is for public safety services. Over the last few years, directors have worked to evaluate efficiencies in their departments. While we won't review them all, they are included in the packet for your review. Very detailed. We had efficiencies in the police department by creating part-time positions instead of supervisory positions. Fire, we're still, determining the cost savings of the fire district. We've had savings from combining the fire marshal and the building official. And then during the current fiscal year, the creation of the 2 positions for peak call times. Additional efficiencies were created with softwares, and reassessing fleet needs will provide additional efficiencies going forward. The library in fiscal 25 reclassified a position instead of hiring a supervisory level manager, which has had annual cost savings of about $35,000. And then Public Works has converted cellular to fiber, which is saving about $6,000 annually. Repurposed a snowplow and liftgate, and then they've shifted a Public Works vehicle to water and sewer rather than purchasing a new vehicle. And then city facility efficiencies, we purchased the City Hall solar this year, which has annual savings. And then the solar at Crown Point is still, efficiencies are still being determined. So in our fiscal 27 budget, for all funds, we are projecting a starting cash balance of $90,135,973. Revenues of $81,807,547. Expenses of $80,399,564, which projects our ending cash balance at June 2027 to be $91,534,956. This includes special revenue, debt service, capital project, and enterprise funds, which can be used for specific purposes. And then for our combined general fund, which includes the general fund, hotel, motel, capital equipment reserve, and a few other smaller funds, our projected starting cash balance for fiscal 27 is $12,025,548. Estimated revenues of $22.9 million, expenses of $26.3 million, and a projected ending fund balance of $8.6 million at June 2027. Here is a breakdown of those individual general funds that make up those total dollars. Specifically for our main general fund, which is Fund 10, we have projected our ending balance to be within 25% of expenditures, which is right in line with our policy. So new in the budget is 11 new positions. The Human Resources Director and Enterprise Applications and IT Coordinator do have split costs between the General Fund and Enterprise Water Sewer Funds. The Utility Billing Specialist is fully funded from the Enterprise and Water Sewer Funds. The fire-related positions are funded based on the Johnston Grimes Fire District funding formula, and approximately 61% will be paid for by the General Fund. And the City of Grimes would make up those, the other 39%. Then I have a lot of new items that are included in the budget. However, we won't touch on all of them. So police, their big one is including a consultant for their public safety building space needs study. Fire district also has that space needs study as well as an addition. But their big purchase is for a fire engine. This will be funded by GO bonds and then partially by the city of Grimes. Public Works, which is inclusive of roads, water, and wastewater. They have a vehicle lift, construction software, a new hoist, chlorine analyzers, and odor control at Orchard Meadows. And then general government administration, this is kind of the catch-all. It's new software for the communications department for ADA accessibility. In finance, we added a new HRIS software for payroll and timekeeping and a full HR suite. IT, we've budgeted to include Microsoft 365, and then funding for both IT and HR departments. Planning and zoning has a house needs assessment study. And then this fiscal 27 will be the full year where the new mayor council compensation will be in effect. The 12,000 is the difference between fiscal 26 and 27. So we got notable CIP projects as well. Our big ones happening next year are Northwest 62nd Avenue. And then our other very large one is East of Merle Hay Road, Northwest 63rd Place, Merle Hay Road to Northwest 51st Street. Parks, there have a handful of projects, Adventure Ridge, Parks and Splash Pad, Johnston Commons parking lots and pickleball courts, and then Waterford and Foxborough Trail reconstructions. Water has a 54th Avenue pump station rehab and a Camp Dodge meter vault. And then stormwater, we are doing Green Meadows North, downstream of Waterford Pond, Country Ridge 2 outlet, and then Beaver Creek Bank stabilization. So I went through that very quickly, but our requested actions, we will conduct the public hearing for the fiscal 27 budget. We will consider resolution 2672 to adopt the budget and authorize tax levies. We will consider a motion to grant the police department 40 sworn personnel. We will consider resolution 2673 to confirm and establish public purpose for economic development, arts, and culture. And we will consider resolution for 2674 to approve transfers for the fiscal 27 budget. So going to turn it over to Mike really quick if he has anything to add, and then we will open it up to questions.
The only thing I want to add is this is a heavy lift every year for the council to go through. I do appreciate all the time that you have given through this process, because as you guys know, you start in January in earnest and there's a series of meetings, but I especially want to thank Sarah and all the department leadership as they work through the budget process. It is a heavy lift, as Sarah noted at the beginning. This process begins in October in earnest every year. It kind of feels like we just get off a budget, finish a budget, and we go right back at it. But it is a heavy lift, and I do appreciate the team and their efforts on it. So thank you to all of them.
So Mike, we've had some conversation about reducing, this proposes the levy being the same as last year, right?
Correct.
Right. And we've had some conversation about reducing it by 5 cents.
Yep. And I know Sarah put out some information on the dais where those fundings could come from. And I don't know if you have a couple slides you could walk into, Sarah, and kind of walk through it. So yeah.
Yeah, so what if the levy is reduced by 5 cents? In the general fund levy, each cent equates to $19,178. In the debt service levy, each cent would equate to $22,711. While a 5 cent reduction would have a smaller tax revenue impact in the general fund levy, staff proposes taking a reduction in the debt service levy to avoid lowering the adjusted city general fund levy, which is already projected to be ratcheted down to $7.65 in fiscal 28. So this reduction in debt service levy could be made up with additional local option sales tax transfers of $113,558. On the dais was the updated local option sales tax reconciliation that shows that $113,000 included in the transfer line, and it's followed through in the out years. And then on a median home, a home that was valued at $354,500 in the fiscal 26 budget is now valued at $394,700. With no change to the levy, this property owner would see an increase in their city's property taxes of about $87 for the year, or $7.28 per month. By decreasing the levy 5 cents, that property owner will see an increase in their taxes of $78.51 for the year, or $6.54 per month. That reduction would save the property owner $8.79 for the year. Then to a commercial and industrial property, a property valued at $1,025,000 in the previous, or in our current budget, it would now be valued at $1,210,000 for fiscal 27's budget. With no change to the levy, this property owner would see an increase in their city taxes of $1,854.71 for the year, or $154.56 per month. With a 5 cent decrease to the levy, that property owner would then see an increase in their taxes of $1,803.67, or $150.31 per month. The reduction of 5 cents would save that property owner $51.04 for the year. I will note that the transfers resolution that was included in the agenda would need revised to reflect the additional loss transfer if a reduction is passed.
And just for the benefit of the council, I mean, this is a lot of information you haven't seen before, and I haven't seen it either, frankly. So I'm trying to digest it very quickly here. But the conversation that I've had with Mike and to some extent with Councilmember Cope is that if we reduce the property tax levy by 5 cents, that'll get us down to a lower property tax levy than we had 10 years ago. And with the 5 cent reduction, Mike has assured me that it's not really going to have that significant of an impact.
The impact would be, if you go back to that first slide you had in there, we would have to transfer an additional $113,000 out of local option sales tax. I know that was an area that was identified by a few council members to say, hey, is our balance high? And I think the reconciliation that Sarah put together, we still show that the projects on Eastern Rural Hay would occur. And then it flows through. So we're showing that $113,000 every year. Because again, if we just do it once, obviously that will cause us to have to raise the levy a nickel next year. So our overall balance, by the time you get to fiscal year 2032, would actually be about 25% of our annual receipts, which is lower than what the council has set in the past. But is it doable? Absolutely, it's doable. It just would affect other projects the council may want to do out of local option sales tax dollars. But we have the flexibility, and it really is not until you get to fiscal year 2030 where we fall below 100%. So we have a couple fiscal years to kind of have those discussions. It's not a short time.
Make
issue.
budget decisions prior to
Yep.
that. So that's what I would like for the council to consider. It's doable. I think it sends a good message to our community. This would be a property tax levy that is lower than it was even a decade ago. We can do it. And what it does is again, when we pass the resolution adopting the local option sales tax, one of the primary arguments for doing it was that it would be for property tax reduction, and that's what this would be.
So I think from a staff perspective at this point, if that's a decision the council wants to do, is to lower the levy, that nickel. We clearly prepared the resolutions for the levy based on the public hearing at the last meeting. And so we would simply need the council to make a motion to adopt those resolutions subject to, and what I'm hearing and what we would recommend is it would be a nickel reduction in the debt service levy, and then to make the comparable changes in the budget documents that we then would submit to the state. So it'd be a pretty simple amendment to the resolution.
And that's resolution number 72, because I don't see that resolution on the board docs packet.
It is the state form.
Okay, so that state form is
Yep, we can't put a resolution number on it until it's adopted.
okay. Could you, I don't know.
Can you pull it up, Sarah, so they can see it?
So we would work through the revisions, and on this lead sheet here, it would reflect right here. $2.62 or $2.62 for debt service with a total on line 72 of 11.38790.
Okay. Yeah, and I will support that reduction as well. This is every 2 years we go through reassessments. So this isn't a reassessment year, so everybody is paying their value of their property is assessed at a higher level. And I think historically, and I think Mike, you would agree with this, typically in those reassessment years, that's an opportunity to reduce the levy. And so I think we should take that opportunity this year and do that as well. I think we're all either, if you look at the average home in Johnston, which went from, I think, 350,000 to 390,000 increase in valuation, or if you looked up your own property and it probably went up an even higher level amount than that, by reducing that levy, that helps to cushion that blow. And also, at our last meeting, we had I think a really powerful presentation by a small business owner in Johnston who, encouraged us to do what we can to be helpful to our small business community. And the commercial and industrial side is facing a much higher increase in property taxes than we are seeing on the residential side. So I think that nickel reduction helps to take into account that concern, while at the same time allowing us to do a very dramatic or planned increase of 2 police officers, doing what we need on the fire side as well. I think it's a balanced approach. And so when the time comes, I will support the motion or make a motion to make those changes in the debt service levy and the total property tax levy.
I have a question, sir, on this. So 5 cents looks very good to do that. How does we have this legislature changes happening about the property taxes. How does this affect what we're trying to do, the new legislature?
At this point, the budget is not taking proposed legislation into effect.
Not in the 27, you mean today?
Well, yes, as of right now, this budget does not account for any potential bill that could pass.
I agree. I'm trying to understand the new legislature. Maybe Tommy can help me understand this. Is there any new legislature changes that will happen that will affect the property taxes?
So not for the fiscal year we're in right now.
Okay.
I think there's a high likelihood that the legislature will pass a bill that will impact the levy starting for the fiscal year that starts July 1 of 2027. Importantly, and it'll be very challenging. I think it's legislation I don't think frankly, it's not a good piece of legislation, but it does not include neither the House and Senate. They have 2 different versions. They haven't come together on a single version. But right now they exempt that debt service levy from the reductions. And so that's one reason why I think staff is recommending that if we reduce any levy, reduce the debt service levy, because that's probably a levy where we have the most flexibility. So I think that's why we can reduce that levy with a little bit of comfort that we'll have some protection there. But I think it's pretty high confident that the legislature will do something on property taxes, and it's going to be challenging for us moving forward.
One of the things I would add to Councilmember Cope, if I may, I think it depends on what bill passes. I mean, if the current bill in the Senate passes, there's a lot more runway the city of Johnston, every city in Iowa will have, just the way the levies, if the current legislation, the House passes, I think before we even get into fiscal year 27, we're going to have conversations back here at the council about how do we position the city, because it is going to be very difficult as you move into future years. So I think that's the challenge. But until the legislature adjourns, today's the last day of per diem, so they'll probably be in a little bit of more of a hurry, and the weather's getting nicer, so they'll want to get out of Des Moines. But it is something we are actively monitoring, frankly, on a daily basis.
Okay. So explain to me what's the challenges, difficulty will be when the legislature passes?
Well, again, it depends on what piece of legislation passes. The main difference between the House and the Senate is the Senate has a provision that their provision only impacts what is traditionally known as the general fund or the 810 levy, while the House says it affects everything but debt service. And so if the Senate passes, we have other levies. I'm going to back up. We have other levies. For example, we have our employee benefit and our tort liabilities. Those two levies are unlimited levies as long as you're expending those funds on very specific purposes. So health insurance is one of those areas that runs through the employee benefit levy. And we don't control health insurance costs. I mean, they are what they are. And so last year, our health insurance increase was 12%.
22%.
Sorry, 22%. But yes, the finance person. We can't control that. And so if we faced a 22% increase, then we have to have discussions about where are we going to reduce our budget in other areas to fund that, or we have to go back to our employee groups and say, hey, we need to have a plan design, or it's a combination of both. When we look at a lot of our metro counterparts, we are already requiring our employees to, spend 20% of their, they have to pay for 20% of the health insurance bill. Not every city even requires that. Some pay 100%. Not very many, but some do. And so those become the challenges if we want to remain competitive in the market. Other areas like IPERS is, again, one of those things. If IPERS has to increase their rate, we have no control over that. And it's a thou shall pay requirement. So those are the challenges if the House bill passes. How do we maintain those services that our residents and our businesses and community is demanding and expecting? And some will be through, we can find more efficiencies, but frankly, the longer those type of restrictions stay in place, it likely will mean reduction in services. We'll try to avoid that as long as we can, but it is something that this legislation likely will cause.
Okay, so, well, thinking short term, 5 cents reduction this year looks very good. Thinking long term, 5 cent reduction does harm our budget and everything else.
It certainly expends additional dollars that we have sitting in the local option sales tax fund. In the, again, I know Mayor Gierenfeld, and I agree with it. It does not impact the city in the short term. And we do have the funds. Again, we are sitting at the end of last fiscal year, 102% in that fund. And so, or we're projected to end this year at 102%. So we do have the funds that we could easily expend. The question will become, can we maintain a nickel reduction in the levy rate? Now, specifically, our recommendation as staff is to run it through the debt service, because no legislation is proposing to impact the debt service fund. So certainly we could in future years increase that as an option the council could consider to make up funds and revenue if we face strains in other areas.
Okay. You're going to say something?
Sarah, what is the cost of the 5 cent reduction?
$113,000.
Okay. What is the increase in revenue that we will be receiving by keeping the property tax levy flat?
Sorry,
If we keep the property tax levy flat,
Total dollar?
if we keep the levy flat, what is the total dollar increase of additional revenue we'll be receiving from over last year at that levy rate?
I don't have that number handy, but I will calculate it really quick.
Pretty theme song.
All these things bookmarked on my computer then. Okay, so including the debt service levy and all levies in that calculation, additional 1.7 million in revenue.
So I think that, finding $115,000 out of almost $2 million, we can do that. Even if we have to look for efficiencies going forward.
Yeah. Okay.
And one of the, I don't want to call it a concern, but one of the points that I have made through time is that, when cities say that they're keeping their property tax levy flat, that suggests to the residents that somehow there's not increased revenue coming in that is spent, and that's simply not true. I mean, when we keep our levy flat, it goes up by a significant amount of dollars. And so, and that's always been the case because we're a growing community. And so I think, this is a year where we can reduce the levy by 5 cents. We have the funds available to do that. It may cause us to look a little harder in future years, but that's our job.
I understand that. I'm just thinking, do we think short term or should we think long term? That's my thought process here.
Right.
But I agree with you. 5 cents reduction is okay, but I still have my concerns on how we're thinking.
I'll support it.
Support it.
I support the 5 cent decrease in debt service levy as well.
This is a public hearing on this item. Is there anyone in the audience who would like to address the council? Seeing none, we will close the public hearing at 8:02. Okay, so you're gonna have to give us a little guidance on how we do this.
So again, what my recommendation would be is to, if you support the resolution in lowering the levy, just make a motion to approve the resolution, but to lower the debt service levy by 5 cents.
In which resolution would we do that?
That would be.
Because we have several here.
That would be, I believe, in your first.
2672.
resolution.
Okay.
If it's appropriate, I'll make a motion to approve resolution number 26-72 with a change in the debt service levy, reducing it by 5 cents and reducing the overall total property tax levy by 5 cents as what's reflected in the current state form.
Second.
We have a motion and a second discussion. Cindy, vote please.
Councilmember Cope,
Yes.
Evans,
Yes.
Martin,
Yes.
Ready,
Yes.
Burkhart.
Yes.
Motion passed. Do we have a motion to approve resolution number 26-73?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Discussion. Cindy, vote please.
Councilmember Evans.
Yes.
Martin,
Yes.
Ready,
Yes.
Burkhart,
Yes.
Cope.
Yes.
Motion passed. And do we have a motion to approve resolution number 26-74?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Discussion. Cindy, vote please.
Councilmember Martin,
Yes.
Ready,
Yes.
Burkhart,
Yes.
Cope,
Yes.
Evans.
Yes.
Motion passed. Moving on to the.
Need a motion for, to grant the police department additional authority.
I'm sorry?
A motion to grant the police department, up to 40 sworn personnel.
Do we have a motion to grant the police department additional authority for staffing?
So
So
moved.
moved. Second.
We have a motion and a second. Discussion. Cindy, vote please.
Councilmember Ready,
Yes.
Burkhart,
Yes.
Cope,
Yes.
Evans,
Yes.
Martin.
Yes.
Motion passed. Moving to the consent agenda. Do we have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
I move.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Discussion. Cindy, vote please.
Councilmember Burkhart,
Yes.
Cope,
Yes.
Evans,
Yes.
Martin,
Yes.
Ready.
Yes.
Motion passed. And I would again, there's several reports that we received and filed that were a part of the consent agenda. I would just commend them to you for your review. Moving on to item 7, non-consent agenda. Item 7A, consider approval of resolution number 26-71, approving and authorizing execution of amendment number 3 to the amended and restated purchase, sale, and development agreement by and between the City of Johnston and Johnston Golf Development LLC.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. This amendment is the 13th amendment to the Johnston Golf Development or Bombers Project Development Agreement. I won't go through all the previous history, but just a summary of this amendment. First of all, extends performance dates with November 13th of 2026 being when they need to provide written confirmation of sufficient equity. Currently, that is September 30th. December 31st would be to close on a construction financing, which currently is October 31st. 60 days after, they need to complete the foundations, procure steel, and execute a guaranteed maximum price contract. Additionally, they need to reimburse the city for their legal expenses within 30 days. There was a financial security requirement that was in the previous development agreement that stated the developer needed to provide a letter of credit. That has been removed from the current development agreement, but the city does reserve the right to include this obligation for a letter of credit or a similar security in a future amendment to the agreement itself. Additionally, the developer needs to submit a conditional rezoning application that aligns with the 2013 Merle Hay Gateway Plan. That needs to be done by the 20th, April 20th, which is also the date that was in the previous development agreement. Staff is recommending approval and happy to answer any questions the council has this evening. Thank you.
Council have any questions?
Mike, are we prepared? I mean, or is that April 22nd deadline? Have we received that rezoning application?
I think he has it in hand or maybe gave it to Dave tonight, so yes.
Perfect. Thank you all.
Any other questions? If not, do we have a motion to approve resolution 26-71?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Discussion. Cindy, vote please.
Member Cope,
Yes.
Evans,
Yes.
Martin,
Yes.
Ready,
Yes.
Burkhart.
Yes.
Motion passed. Item 7B, consider approval of claims in the amount of $1,491,141.61.
Approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Discussion. Cindy, vote please.
Councilmember Evans,
Yes.
Martin,
Yes.
Ready,
Yes.
Burkhart,
Yes.
Cope.
Yes.
Motion passed. Moving on to city administrator staff comments. Mike?
I would just say today was a great day for the city of Johnston, celebrating the 100th anniversary of Pioneer. It was a wonderful event. I know several of you also joined. I just have to say, I don't usually talk about events, but it just was a fun event, inspiring, and we're really, and even Pioneer, looking forward to the next 100 years. So thank you. Otherwise, I don't know if there are any staff comments. Does not look like it this evening any.
Okay. Council comments.
Nothing, thank you.
I'll pass, thank you.
I would just encourage folks, there was one of the unveilings today at the Corteva location is a really cool Pioneer logo. And so it's a great selfie spot to get yourself a photo taken. But, you know, it was a great presentation. I think one of the things that was really interesting is just the fascinating life that Henry Wallace led. And, you know, they were talking about sort of the role that he played in 1925 of changing the direction of how hybrid seed corn was marketed and researched and all that type of stuff. And I kept something along the lines of basically he, you know, one of the speakers said today that he refused to, you know, kind of believe conventional wisdom, and he was willing to kind of go against kind of how the normal way things were done. And I think that's a great, you know, opportunity for all of us to follow. But it was really awesome to be in a room full of a lot of people who spent their lives dedicated to making not only the lives of people who live in Johnston better, the people in Iowa, United States, but the entire world. And the focus on that was really impressive. So it was great opportunity, and really made me proud to be connected with a community that can be the home of such a wonderful company.
Councilman Burkhart.
It's been far too long that I've publicly thanked city staff in any capacity, but I do want to direct some attention to everyone who had and played a role in helping develop our budget. It is a monumental task and lift to do that, and I'm grateful for everybody who came with their wishes and dreams and then got them stomped by the city council, to those that had to continue to make sure that the I's were dotted and the T's were crossed, and will continue to do so to get those forms submitted, especially as we continue to hear of other communities that sometimes forget to submit forms or do other stuff like that, that we have such competent professionals that won't do that. But I also want to take a moment to comment on the fact that I appreciate council and mayor looking and scrutinizing our budget to the point of asking the question, could we do the same with less? Could we continue to provide those services, or what impact would it have if the levy were reduced? And I'm grateful that you posed that question. And I'm grateful then for the creative thinking of our city staff to be able to say, what would it look like? But also, what would it look like so that it doesn't hurt us for the future? And Councilmember Reddy made a comment that he wanted to make sure that the future was also protected. I don't feel it's right for us to take in more tax dollars than what is needed. But at the same point, I want to make sure we're not hamstrung or hobbled in any way. And sometimes that's very difficult, especially in the uncertainties right now of what's going on or what legislation has been proposed in the legislature. And so for all of the folks who thought about that and creatively kind of come up with a solution that can, as close as possible, be a win-win, I'm so proud of you all. And I know that seems kind of cliche, but I truly mean it. And I hope that even this small amount of tax reduction does mean something to our community and to the residents, because we're always trying, and it's never an easy choice. So thank you.
Councilmember Martin.
Why do I have to go after Councilman Burke?
The next time I'll have you go first.
It doesn't seem fair. No, I have no comments. Thank you.
I'm sorry.
Well, I just want to pile on about the comments, first of all, with respect to the celebration that we all were invited to and many of us attended earlier today. I mean, it truly is special to have a company in a community that has lasted over 100 years. And in fact, the CEO of Corteva commented about, and just kind of reflecting on the fact that Pioneer has been in existence for 100 years. And he mentioned some other companies like Pepsi-Cola and some others that are familiar to us that have been around for 100 years. And then And then you think about all of the other businesses that haven't been around for 100 years, and it really does make you proud that Pioneer was founded in Johnston. It grew in Johnston, and it's still here by another name, but their leading brand is still Pioneer. So we'll continue to talk in terms of it being Pioneer probably for the next 100 years. It was quite a celebration, and the structure that Tom has suggested that everyone needs to go out and see. It actually is a piece of public art.
Yeah, there you go.
And it's well done. And in addition to displaying the logo of Pioneer, the brand, it also has around it pictures of thousands of their employees from around the world. So that's, and they contributed their pictures for that purpose. So that was cool as well. So it truly was a special day. And I just want to thank you, Councilman Burkhart, for your great comments about the hard work that went into the budget. It's a challenge every year, and if it wasn't for the competent staff that we have, we couldn't be confident that we were putting together a budget that we know will withstand all of the tests of the auditors and everyone else, and ensures that we can pay the bills when they come due, and that we can continue to keep our staff in their positions and employed and doing the great work that they do. So yes, thank you for everything that you do. I also want to share just very quickly, there was one additional proclamation that was issued in just the last 3 or 4 days, and that was a proclamation that I presented to the Johnston Early Learning Academy last Tuesday or Wednesday, recognizing the Week of the Young Child, a national designation, a proclamation that similar preschool organizations asked to have issued across the country. And it was fun. They invited me to come over and spend some time with the preschoolers and to read a book to them. And I'm looking at this dais here, and I shared with Mike earlier today. Seldom am I in a room where I have 125 members of the audience, and they fit in a space so small. When I speak to, even middle schoolers, they take up a much larger space, and they're a lot less attentive.
Yeah.
I mean, these kids were paying attention. So in fact, I'll just tell this story. Part of what they incorporated into their week of celebration, they built it around themes of bees, and how bees are leaders, bees are team players. They all work to support each other. And so they had all these bees all over the place. And so they shared with me that the next day they were having the queen bee, Polk County queen bee, come in and speak to the kids. And, I shared that I have bees. And so they asked me to talk about my bees with the kids. And I did. And so then the next day when the queen bee came in, the kids were all going, "Are you the mayor? Are you the mayor? Are you the..." Well, not quite. She was here yesterday. You're the queen bee. So anyway, a great opportunity to get in with some of the youngest Johnston citizens that we have. So with that, is there anything else to come before the council this evening? If not, we have a couple of closed sessions. We have the first one, a closed session per Iowa Code Section 21.51A, to review or discuss records which are required or authorized by state or federal law to be kept confidential or to be kept confidential as a condition for that government body's possession or continued receipt of federal funds. Do we have a motion to go into closed session?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Discussion? Cindy, vote please.
Councilmember Cope,
Yes.
Evans,
Yes.
Martin,
Yes.
Ready,
Yes.
Burkhart.
Yes.
Motion passed. And I think we need to have everyone
Everybody's comment on it.
to